All right, I'll say good day to all. We will begin this transmission by reminding you that it is titled The Relationship Between Fear and Power. We have discussed many ideas about how you can relate to the concept of fear when you experience it. We have reminded you that it is often the product of filtering your energy through negative belief systems. And because belief systems are designed to perpetuate themselves, we have talked about the idea of how negative beliefs may use fear to prevent you from letting them go as a form of perpetuating themselves. To make it seem worse to let them go, they will often amplify the fear in your attempt to divest yourself of these negative beliefs, so that again, making it seem as if something worse will happen by letting them go, by amplifying, magnifying the fear that you feel, that you experience during the process of attempting to let them go. And we have talked about the ability to understand that because that's what's happening, that you can realize that the stronger the fear, the closer you are to letting go of that negative belief, because then the negative belief is working that much harder by amplifying the fear to prevent you from moving forward in the direction that you prefer. But now let us talk about the idea of the energy itself. Remember, the most important thing in this particular idea is to understand that the only energy you ever feel is your own. We understand that in your reality, in your space-time reality, in the illusion of physical reality, it can often seem as if you're experiencing energy coming from another person or some other outside source. And while it may be true that a person may give off an energy or an outside source may transmit energy in a variety of ways, the only way you can actually experience what they are transmitting is to match the frequency of that energy out of your own energy. And that's how you experience the idea that energy is coming from somewhere else to you. So in a sense, you cannot really be influenced or impacted by anyone else's energy unless you decide, either consciously or unconsciously, with your fear-based beliefs or whatever beliefs, to match that frequency in your own energy, thus creating a mirror, a reflection, a simulation, so to speak, of the energy coming to you from elsewhere by mirroring it so closely that you feel it within your own energy. You match that frequency and have that experience that is representative of the energy coming to you. But again, you can't feel it until you match it. So your energy is the only energy you ever experience. Therefore, understand that when you experience fear on any level, to any degree, in any amount, you are experiencing your own energy being used to create a vibration that matches the concept of negativity, of disconnection, dissociation, disempowerment. Not that you can ever really be disempowered, but you are matching the frequency of the concept of disempowerment, which you can create. But please remember that in order to have an experience of disconnection and disempowerment, you actually have to be connected and empowered in order to create those disconnected and disempowering experiences. So the idea is to remember that you're always empowered. You cannot really be disempowered, because if you were really disconnected, really disempowered from creation, from all that is, you wouldn't be able to have any experience at all. So the fact that you may experience fear doesn't mean you're truly disempowered. It means simply that your power is being used to create a certain frequency that is representative of disconnection or disempowerment, but isn't actually disempowerment. So when you feel fear, allow yourself a moment to remember that you are feeling your own energy at a certain frequency. It's no one else's energy. It's not coming from anyone else or any other source, even though others may attempt to send it to you. What you experience is coming from you. So when you feel the energy that you are, the power that you have in the form of fear, the stronger the fear, paradoxically, the more you are put in touch with how powerful you are. So we are now in this transmission encouraging you to make an association in your mind, in your belief system, between the concept or the experience of fear and the experience of power, by simply first and foremost seeing or experiencing or understanding the sensation of fear as simply energy, as power itself, so that you can make a transition between that frequency that allows you to experience it fearfully and transition to an experience of having it feel like power, like energy coursing through you. We have, to some degree, talked about this a little bit before, about neutralizing the idea of fear by seeing it and experiencing it and understanding it simply as energy, so that you can shift that energy into whatever frequency you prefer. But here we're again attempting to get a stronger association in your mind between the idea of experiencing fear and experiencing your power, to recognize it as a flow of power through you. And therefore, in being able to understand that it's coming from you, to be able to really begin to sense that it's your power simply being filtered through a fear-based belief, you can begin to equate more often than not the idea that the more fear you feel, the more power you experience of your power, the more of it you experience. And then by starting to think of it as power and not really relating to it in the flavor, in the frequency it's being presented to you as fear, but only relating to it as a sensation of power, you can begin to remember that you are always empowered, never really disempowered, that you're using your power to create an experience of disempowerment. But since you know it's your energy and it's not really coming from anyone else or anywhere else, not in terms of how you experience it, then you can decide in that moment, when you feel great fear, to start thinking of it as power coursing through you. And the stronger the fear, the stronger the power, so that you begin to relate to it simply as power. And once you really begin to relate to fear as power, you will change the sensation the more you practice this, and it will really start to shift into a positive sense of power and self-empowerment, and a realization that you've always been self-empowered, and that all the effects and all the energy and all the experiences you've ever had in your life have always been made out of your own energy, because there's nothing else within you to allow you to experience things in any other way. You have to align, you have to agree, consciously or unconsciously, with the idea of anything being presented to you as a frequency from anyone else or any other source in order for you to experience it. Otherwise, it's invisible to you. There's no sensation, no experience whatsoever, no matter how many times another being or another source may offer or send to you a particular energy, a vibration, a frequency that they may be giving off. You will not be capable and are not capable of experiencing it in any way, shape, or form. It will be completely intangible, completely invisible to you, until you, consciously or unconsciously, make a choice to match that frequency or not match that frequency in order to experience it or not experience it in your life. Because everything, no exceptions, that you experience in your reality is made out of your energy. It's all yours. You own it, and you can do anything you wish with it. And the more you remember that fear is power, when you just think of it as energy and shift it into the positive side, then the greatest fear you experience in your life or have ever experienced in your life will give you a clue as to how powerful you are, how much power courses through you, how much energy courses through you. And you can change the frequency in whatever way you wish by your imaginary dial or whatever technique or permission slip you wish. But the first realization is that no matter what you feel, even if it is fear, that is an indication of the power coursing through you that you have at your disposal to use in any way you so prefer. So just begin to make that association, that linkage between the idea of fear as power. And as soon as you start really thinking of it that way, as often as you can, anytime you feel the fear, it will start to subside from the fearful frequency and start to shift over into the frequency of the recognition that you are completely connected, completely empowered. And then you can direct that frequency in any way, shape, or form you wish toward your passion and allow that much power to course through you in the actions that you take in applying the passion in your life as best as you possibly can. Now remember that this information is not only coming to you verbally, but is also coming to you through the idea of a frequency of energy that we are giving off, not only through the channel's body, but through the electronics that you are experiencing in this remote session. But again, you can't feel the frequency we are giving you unless you decide to match it. So the idea for you is to hear that bell, hear that call, hear that synchronous reminder that wakes you up to the moment when you realize that the greatest fear you're feeling is also the greatest power, and allow yourself to utilize it in that way. So we thank you for allowing yourselves to match whatever level of the frequency you so desire to match that we are sending to you, so that you always know you have a reminder embedded, if you wish, in the very fabric of the space-time you are experiencing, that is always there for you to tap into and match that frequency according to your choices, according to your preferences, so that you always know you have this information right with you, wherever you are, whenever you are, every moment of your life.